Hello, everyone. We are live. My name is Adam Belansky. I am the CEO and president of Sierra Pacific Group. And if you happen to be joining us today, we are actually going to be doing a demo here, not a demo, but maybe just talking about a PitchIT contestant and an interesting product. And I'm really excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, Sean Lardo. How you doing, man?
What's up, Adam? I am back home just 2 minutes ago from IT Nation Secure. Um, yeah, and I lost my voice. So, yeah, it's been a good week, man.
Yeah, it's so I'm actually still out here in Orlando attending the advisory council here at ConnectWise, and we just wrapped up IT Nation Secure, a 3-day event, really deep diving into kind of the security world. It's been pretty awesome. So you here the whole week, Sean? You have a few highlights?
Oh, man. So, I'll tell you this much. Can you hear me okay, first off? Because I'm
We can a little bit.
all
I
right,
know.
perfect.
Yeah, we got you.
So, yeah, because obviously there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of good conversations this week. I would say, looking at IT Nation Secure, being the third year that we've done it, it was the turnout was fantastic. First off, it really was. I'm not even sure of the final count, but I know we had easily total probably about 1,200 plus people, if not more, there that I could tell. Um, Everything that as far as we heard from all the attendees, the speakers, the engagements are really nice. People enjoyed it. There was a lot of good quality information content. One of the big ones in particular was we had two partners that took the modes assessment, and then both their cybersecurity business model through the modes lens.
Yeah, if you
So,
guys are watching us live, check out there's a website, the modes. I just put up the link on the stream, and also it's just the Pitch It where you can see Pitch It and kind of find out about this program and so forth if you want a little
and
bit more
and
detail.
actually, I think we updated. We need to update that website too because we launched a new website for modes also just a few days back. Just happened. Just happened.
Just happened. We'll be sure and get that updated here for our next presentation.
Yes.
But I definitely want to introduce our guest, um, Andrew Hunt from getKambium, and let me bring him in. How you doing, Andrew?
Good, Adam. Good. Nice to see you, Sean. Good to be here.
So we're doing it on a little bit of a different time. It's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and it is 10 a.m. in New Zealand. If
It's
I
10 a.m. here in Auckland, New Zealand. It's a gorgeous autumn day, and it's just good to be part of this crew. Looking forward to being back in the US later on this year and seeing you guys in person. It's going to be fantastic.
Awesome. So Andrew, tell us. I don't know any of the Pitch It contestants. Who are you? What does your company do?
Okay, well, the first thing I just want to start off by saying is just what a great process PitchIT's been so far. We've been getting a hell of a lot of value out of it. And I've just been so impressed by the other folk in the same cohort that we're in. It's a fabulous group to be participating in. Just thanks to Sean and his team for the chance to be part of it. So getKambium. So Cambium is a ring in a tree, and it's spelt with a C. And so if you cut down a tree, I don't propose doing that, by the way, but if you cut down a tree and you look at the tree rings inside, they're called cambium rings. And the name sort of reflects that growth and the strength and maturity that trees get as they grow bigger and older. And that's what we're trying to help MSPs do. We see that our service, getKambium service, is around helping MSPs to get that growth, maturity, and strength that they need to prosper. And I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek, and he's done a number of videos. The Infinite Loop is the program. I was lucky enough to hear him speak a year or so ago in person. But of course, his most famous story is around understanding the why. And so the why for us is making sure that we help our communities to grow and prosper. And the way we see that happening is if the organizations in the communities are strong and doing what they need to do to get the outcomes that their stakeholders want to achieve.
Fantastic. Sean.
Yeah, you know what? My volume is all jacked up. I'm trying to get everything. I am seriously struggling here. This is the joys of travel and trying to fit everything in a day. Like literally 2 flights, a 45, 50-minute commute home, and here I am trying to get this together with you. I am so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good,
Sean.
I just kept seeing you move around. I was like, what is Sean doing?
I was trying to find the headset.
I call you out live. It's all good.
I'm trying to look as professional as possible without really being on point at this moment. But I'm gonna have coffee.
Yeah. So if you're joining us live, there's quite a few people joining us live. So I'm just curious of how many people have been, I'll call it down under to New Zealand and Australia. So where the toilet goes the other way, right? The water. So, or the other way. Does it? I think so.
I've never checked, Adam, but the light switches are all upside down from your point of view. And I'm sure there's a few other strange idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So with Kambium, it's, about the tree, dealing with organization to be more productive and, so I'm an MSP business. How can I begin engaging with you? Let's just start off there. Like, what problem am I solving with your particular software?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Well, thanks. Great question. So I think that the key challenge MSPs have is there's a lot of change going on. And we're a technology industry. We're used to change occurring, and change is occurring to us as well as to our clients. We're in a world now that's fundamentally different to what it was. I've come from an MSP. I've done 25 years as an MSP. Got that to 40 something staff, 2 cities, about 10 million turnover. And so I understand that the world we're in is quite different to what it was 10, 20 years ago. The way that the businesses who go to MSPs for support, what they need is changing. And MSP business is in danger of becoming commoditized as we see new entrants come in and engineers now becoming technicians, unfortunately, to some extent, as we see the photocopiers come in, there's more level 1 work. The servers that we used to look after, they've thinned out now as products have gone into the cloud. On one hand. On the other hand, if we look at the businesses we deal with, they've got more technology than they've ever had before. They're buying more services out of the cloud. Quite often the businesses don't even know the services they've got, and that's why I really like John Harden's story around his Saslio product earlier in this program, and there's many others. Mm-hmm. We have to look at the needs of our clients through their lens and figure out how to provide those from our stack. It's all very well having a stack, but you've got to figure out that from your customer's point of view, and it's a truism that it's much easier to sell something that somebody wants to buy. The best way to do that is to understand what their need is and to do that in a structured way. And if you think about your client looking for a trusted IT advisor, they want somebody that's got an IT issue, what the client sees as an IT issue, and they want to come to their trusted IT advisor and get support around solving that dilemma from the person that they trust. Essentially, we need to make sure that's the MSP and not somebody else. And there's a bunch of folk entering that space. That's where the value is. And just quietly, consultants get to charge a heck of a lot more per hour than technicians or even engineers. So that's a space you want to be in. And there's a lot of MRR opportunities, but they're different to what we used to do. And if you think back to the early days of RMM tools, they came in and taught us to have a standardized program of service across our clients. Before that, all our work was ad hoc. If you're going back to the late 90s and early 2000s, and we saw the emergence of RMM tools in the mid 2000s, and we all became MSPs. We have the same opportunity to transition our businesses to be trusted IT advisors with scalable, repeatable services, adding revenue and increasing our hourly rate and our value to our clients by taking a deliberative, structured approach to what our customers need. And so that's what getKambium is. It's a very complicated way of saying getKambium is a way of discovering what your client needs from their perspective and their point of view. We need to understand what their business strategy is, what the numbers are they're trying to achieve, what their key goals are, what the risks are that they want to mitigate, and why they want to do those things in their language. And then we can then take our solutions and frame them up to the customer in that context. And if you do that, then you are much more likely to win new business. Essentially, it's a structured way of qualifying deals. Once you understand that the customer said, look, I want to open a new warehouse, launch a new service, fix this business process, find a better way to connect more directly with my clients, we can help them achieve that. Even if it's a service that we don't do ourselves, we can get a partnership with a specialist in that area, acting as the customer's trusted IT partner, and then finally go back to the client and show them what we've done every quarter in a structured, purposeful QBR. So getKambium is a discovery tool, first of all, to find out what's important to the customer in their context. Secondly, it's a management tool to help deliver that service through ConnectWise, putting tasks and the work program into ConnectWise in a structured, scheduled way that you can size up and price correctly and how to do these things. And then finally, it's a means of going back and showing the customer the value added to their business at their table, stuff that they can even share with their governance, with their board, because you're lifting it up to that level. At the same time, you're driving better value for the MSP because you're now closing new business, new services, and so forth.
Okay, so let's stick on the topic of like the first point was discovery, right? So it's an assessment tool so is it running agent lists or agents that you deploy out there or what?
No, it's a guided tool for a consultant. So it allows you to sit down with the customer and have a discussion with them. And quite often when we do these things, we do these for all of our top managed clients in our MSP business, the client says to us, wow, no one's ever asked me that question. No one's ever asked me who are my data stakeholders before. In fact, I didn't even know what that meant until you explained it to me. So it's not an electronic tool that goes in. It's a guided tool through a portal that lets the MSP have a structured, repeatable conversation with all of their clients and gather that information that it really should have.
Interesting. Okay. Sean, are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Sean's dialing in.
So you ready? I am talking through here. I can see you on here, but I can't hear a thing out of this. God only knows why. So I am like sitting here listening to you on my phone. It's called improvising.
that is really nice.
I'm just
help.
Yeah. So, all right. So you got the discovery, and then I think you kind of the second piece was I think you said deliver business value. So I'm assuming that's through QBRs. Is that right?
That's the third piece, Adam. That's the third piece. Piece. And look, not all customers want this, but we talk about VCIO. We talk about being our customer's IT manager. But I think we step back and we're going to think, what does IT mean to our customer? And quite often as an MSP, we think about IT in terms of device replacement, end of life cycle, managing warranties. We think about it in terms of internet feeds and maybe some voice over IP. But if we ask the customer what IT means to them, it probably means I've got an HRIS system and I need to select a new system and make sure it's integrated and the identity stuff is working. I need to look at a CRM tool. I need to automate a process that allows my customers to order online or to book a meeting or whatever else that they may require to achieve their goals. And so the management piece is breaking down those into tasks and helping the customer to do those at their speed. And so that creates a bunch of tickets and instructions, which we feed into ConnectWise as tickets for the consultant to go through and execute on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is there I'm trying to bridge the gap here, right? Because there's a technology assessment, but
Correct.
Then there's the business assessment. So do you, as a MSP, I'll say account manager, go into their client and just ask them questions to fill out this survey? And it's like you have a 10-step thing that you walk through that assesses them on various different things, or what?
Yeah, we're getting right into the how now, Adam. That's absolutely right. So in our tool, there are a number of surveys. There's one for a sales assessment. So I'm going to see a new prospect. Let me understand the scale of my prospect. Let me understand what's driving them, what they want to achieve. Why have they invested an hour of their time to spend time with me? Let me drill into that and ask the next why and the next why after that. So quite a lot of the sales process that we've all been taught through Zig Ziglar and so forth, let's just structure it and make sure we do it every time. Or I'm doing a security assessment. And there's no end to security tools. And we saw Fort Mesa earlier this week. Or we're doing a general business assessment, which might be much more in depth. What we want to do is make sure that when that customer is saying, what's my IT roadmap and plan? What's my strategic roadmap? What's my budget for the next 12 and 18 months? We want the person putting that together to be the MSP. And we need the MSP to be thinking not just about the services that they provide, but about all of the services that the customer defines as IT. So we want to open up the MSP's exposure to the customer to be across all of their IT so they can add more value and generate new revenue for the MSP. And our job is to help them to do that.
Awesome. So just in case there's more people watching us live now, so just in case you guys just happen to be joining us, my name's Adam Belansky from Sierra Pacific Group. I'm here with Andrew Hunt from getKambium and Sean Lardo the ConnectWise economy evangelist, the cigar smoking, bourbon drinking, bald headed ConnectWise guru.
Using every possible device to communicate with.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. A little disorganized. He just traveled back from IT Nation Connect here in Orlando. So he just walked into his house about 3 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
I have a
go
couple
ahead, Sean.
questions here. And this is also going from your website. You talk about the ability to get insights and to work with them and create long-term relationships, but you also mentioned about the velocity of the sale, their accelerated sales cycle. How do you make that happen?
Great question, Sean. Quite easy, really. If you understand what the customer needs to achieve their goals. So all of our businesses, regardless of the industry, we sit there and we say, these are my goals for the year. I want to do these things. I want to achieve this budget number. I want to introduce this service, reduce this risk, turn this on, turn that off. And our job as a trusted IT advisor is to understand the role IT plays in achieving those business goals. It's all very well selling the customer what we want to sell them, but
Sure.
It's a ton easier to sell the customer what they want to buy. And the best way to find out what they want to buy is to understand what they want to achieve and to map our services to their requirement in using their language, in their terms, knowing why they have to do it, knowing that they've got the budget, who the decision makers are, and all the time you want to be getting yourself higher up the management tree to get your approval closer and closer to the ownership of that organization. And so that's exactly what we do. By using our discovery process and understanding what's driving their decisions and strategy, then you come back to the office and we have a whole bunch of pre-baked templates, and a subscriber can add their own if they want to and align their stack with that. You can then make a recommendation that says, we recommend you do this thing to solve this problem that you have told us is important to you. Now, all of our customers have more things to do than they have capacity to do. It's a truism, right? Every time I go to the supermarket, there's more things there I want to buy than I can reasonably afford in the weekly grocery budget. And I think that plays out in so many aspects of our lives. And it's true in business. And so you choose the things that are most important to you. The way we accelerate an MSP sales cycle into a customer is to understand what's most important to the customer, not what's most important to us, what's most important to the customer. And in doing so, we can then pitch our solutions in their context to their needs so they understand why they want to say yes to this. In doing so, we build our trust relationship with that customer. We cement ourselves in at their table. We turn up to their office wearing a suit at their management table rather than wearing a polo shirt and talking to the next layer down. We want to make sure that we are more valuable to them because we are helping them do the things that they most want to achieve. And most MSPs struggle with that because we come from I'm an ex-engineer myself. We come from a technical background. We see ones and zeros. We understand how to do stuff, but we've got to step back and think about why. And MSPs struggle with that. The problem we solve for an MSP is to give them a way of asking why and a way they can do it every time. Quite often, an MSP principal kind of gets it instinctively, particularly as their businesses are growing, but they can't scale it out to their next layer of colleagues in their business because it's just not the way that they're wired. We need to help those people to change and to ask open, enabling questions. And the best way to do it is to put the question in front of them. You should be asking this. Here's why you should ask it. Here's how to ask it. And get that. So every time they go into that sort of discussion, they're able to have a winning conversation and be at the top of their game.
Okay, so we're talking about a service and a product?
So it's a product. The product on the website helps the MSP to do all of that. So the service is provided by the MSP. Our product guides them through how to do that. And then when they come back to the office, they're then able to turn that feedback back with a whole bunch of pre-baked recommendations into an action plan for the customer and go back and say, here you go. Based on what you told me in that interview process, this is your roadmap. Let's sign this off and get underway with it.
Okay. So is it integration-wise into ConnectWise or to a PSA or a CRM? Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So it integrates tightly into ConnectWise Manage, Sean. Mm-hmm. So what we see is when you go out to the customer and you've come back with a series of dilemmas, you've turned those into a series of recommendations that you've made to achieve those requirements. Each of those recommendations is an opportunity for you as the as the MSP to go and add value to your customers. So they get posted into ConnectWise as opportunities.
Yep.
And then in the QBR, and by the way, you're putting in the value of the opportunity, when it's got to be done by, all of that good stuff. So when you go back to do your QBR every 3 months, you're able to say to the customer, you told me this was important. Here's our recommendation to achieve it, or our proposed initiative. Now, I haven't done that one because I need you to sign it off. Can you sign that off now? Or it might be, you sign that one off, and here's the great work that we've done. So it integrates with ConnectWise in terms of pushing that opportunity into ConnectWise, into sales. And then as you get that work signed off, it pushes the actions into ConnectWise's projects and tickets, and we're doing that through the event program. And then when you want to go back and do the last piece, which is to report to the customer and be the hero, put that cape on. I think that one of the guys said in the PitchIT thing later on, you put that cape on by showing them what you've done. The reporting engine reads into ConnectWise as well as into our own database and brings that together, relating it again to the customer's goals, because the customer doesn't care about your goals, they care about their goals. And we need to frame this up, and our whole interaction needs to be how the customer wants to act with us.
Sure. So when you integrate into this too, is it actually updating activities that are done?
Correct. That's exactly correct, Sean.
Yeah.
Opportunities, awesome. Tickets, we create tickets, we read into tickets, projects, activities, all of that.
So you can actually use as a playbook concept for everything.
Yeah.
From how to address tickets, here's your templates you should use, here's the desired business outcome, to a sales opportunity, to even prospecting.
So it's once you've got the prospect, it's how do I convert that? How do I qualify that prospect now? So you're out there prospecting with your various sales automation tools. Our job is now to say, I'm now in front of somebody. Why have they invested time to see me? How can I work out whether or not this is an opportunity for me? And quite quickly, I'm sure it will be. But what we need to do is understand what we have to do for them, not what we want to do, but what they need. Right. We've got to come from the customer's headspace, and that's what getKambium does. It allows us to frame our MSP services from the customer's perspective.
Got it.
Cool.
So is there any future plans for integrations into other CRMs?
Yes, yes, there are, but they're a little bit down the track. We're focusing on ConnectWise at the moment. We've decided to double down. We've been a ConnectWise partner for a long time. It's a wonderful organization. We really enjoyed the IT Nation work, and really enjoying PitchIT. We're into CW Invent. And so what we want to do is really get that one absolutely nailed. Yep, we want to go and have a look beyond that in due course. But at the moment, ConnectWise is our absolute focus. Sure. It's such a great community to be part of, and we're really enjoying it.
We appreciate having you, actually, and it's only gotten better. It's growing every day. So this is so complementary to the industry for us. I think I think you said a few things that really stand out. First off, most MSPs are engineers or tech guys or whatever they are, and I've had thousands of conversations with them with different MSPs, and they all struggle with that process in the sales, the relationship building. They're more, and so if you give them the ability to have some sort of a linear approach to do it with some good content that's prescribed,
you've got it. If you're a hammer, everything's a nail. But actually, you need a hammer in the first place, right? And so, if we think about changes, and I reflect on some ConnectWise content that I saw at, I think it was at IT Nation online last year, one of the sessions I viewed it through the webinar. One of the slides said that customers between 50 and 100 seats, and that's the sweet spot, of course, for a number of our MSP community, between 50 and 100 seats, they are looking for their MSP now to look at helping them do value creation in their enterprise, looking to be not just technical, but also business focused. And so that's the opportunity for an MSP. At the same time, for the last 2 or 3 IT Nations, your leadership has been telling us that we've got photocopier companies and audio-visual companies coming into the market and commoditizing services. We're seeing wonderful tools for AI. We're seeing more BPO offshore, and so that's commoditizing IT service. We don't need to, we don't have service to replace anymore. An awful lot of the work that MSPs used to thrive on is either being automated, or it's just becoming redundant as technology moves on. So what's the role that an MSP needs to offer their customer? The customer has more IT services than they've ever had. What the MSP needs to make sure is that they are inserting themselves and saying, what's the service? If I look forward 5 years, what does my customer really need from their IT partner? And to frame themselves up in that conversation. And I'll be honest, not every MSP understands that. If an MSP wants to continue to be transactional, well, good luck to them. But my view is the MSPs that are going to thrive and succeed are the ones that want to understand and deliver value in their customers' terms at a business level. And again, I reflect back on Simon Sinek's wonderful Tell Me Why videos. And just absolutely be thoughtful about the value you add to your client.
So it's a big deal. How I'm seeing this is you're also retraining the MSPs to understand what the sales process should look like, or and by sales process, we're talking about upsell, cross-sell, whatever it may be. And you're doing it through consultative approach.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
I couldn't agree more, actually.
Yeah, not the easiest thing to explain because it is quite wildly different from a lot of the transactional background that we've come from, but super important.
Sure.
And MSPs that are looking ahead and just thinking about the world. So right now we're doing really well adding cybersecurity, and I've just recognized that IT insecure you've just been at, of course, and the feedback we can't be there, but being able to watch it online and understand the rebranding and the ConnectWise and the new products coming out. What I'm seeing in that is, again, a more of a consultative approach, because a lot of that security is going to get baked into the tools. We're outsourcing our SOCs and our SIEMs, and again, ConnectWise is a big part of that. So what's the value that we add that's uniquely our DNA to our customer? Our customer trusts us. How do we make sure we earn and deserve that trust?
Interesting. So
makes sense.
I'm an MSP business again. I'll go from that perspective. I want to sign up for you. Can I enroll online? And
Absolutely.
Is there an onboarding process? Can you kind of talk about maybe how that process works for you?
Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually currently in a build-out phase. PitchIT's for new entrants into the market, building up their products, and hey, that's us. So I'll be really honest about that. We're getting ready for launch. So we are at minimum viable product, with the emphasis on viable, of course. So we're working really hard, beavering away, building this thing. We've got the first few modules out. We've got a bunch of users now who are giving us wonderful feedback and really enjoying that. We've got a number of people being quite successful with our product, but we keep seeing sort of, where are we going with this and what's next? And we've got quite a big release plan for about 4 weeks' time, which will get us to our MVP stage. But it's online right now. You can go there, you can sign up online. I'll do a demo with you, take you through it, or one of my colleagues will, and you can sign up for free and give it a go. And we're just going to love you to death to make sure you're on board and succeeding with our product, and whatever it takes to onboard you. We're there to stand alongside. As we get thousands of users, we'll get a bit more structured about that, and that's a problem I'm looking forward to having.
Right. So I have a question there on the onboarding, and because we're talking about sales processes for upsell, cross-sell, and there's gonna be different modules, maybe, right? So maybe that's the best way to say it. So does your team then work with me as a client or the MSP? If I say, as I evolve and I said, okay, hey, by the way, we're now reselling company X, and now we have to build a process around that.
That's exactly right. So I think we've done 3 onboardings this week, Sean.
Nice.
And that's exactly how it works. Yep, take you on board and make sure you're successful, because it is a change in time. We think it'll become a lot easier as people start to mature in the space. But right at the moment, it's there. And some MSPs are more mature than others as well, and they find the concepts easier to grasp. Some will struggle.
So, Sean, you got a question? I was going to reset just a little bit. I was just going to ask.
I do have a question. I have two questions, actually. One would be back to integrations, and you talk about QBRs cubed. Are you integrating into QBRs?
Yeah, we're doing. So QBR is a key part of our value proposition. That's the big release we're about to push out.
Awesome.
And so we call it QBR Cube because we all know we should be doing QBRs. Every MSP knows they need to do a QBR for actually all of their.
Yeah, they all know.
They all know it, but very few actually do it. And so when I ask them why they don't, it's because it takes too long to prepare. That's the first problem. And if they are doing them, what they find is the customers, after a while, stop wanting to do them. So the MSP might want to do it if they've got the time, but the customer might lose interest. And so if you want your QBR to succeed, you've got to say, what does the customer want and what do I want? And so we provide a structured QBR process. We're using the prototype here in our MSP business, and it's absolutely, kicking goals. It's fantastic. We can prepare a QBR in minutes for a customer, not in hours. We don't have to bring together reports from all over. It creates a very purposeful QBR. And most importantly, because we know what's important to the customer, we can hit their key notes straightforward. So they can say, actually, that QBR was a really useful hour for me to invest with my MSP. And if you want to have a sticky relationship with your client, you want to get as high up their management tree as you can. If you're having a QBR that talks about their business, their goals, their objectives from their board and their CEO, you're going to get closer to talking to them if you're talking their language. If you're talking about your metrics and your KPIs, and you're talking about SLAs and tickets, you kind of got to be there. But actually, your customer kind of takes it for granted that you're doing that. They're more interested in something that says, how do you make my business more successful? What value are you creating in my enterprise? And so it's QBR cubed, because that's the focus of our discussion, helping show how the MSP is driving the customer's success. Then your customer will absolutely want to be it, and we just don't want to make that too burdensome for the MSP to deliver.
Got it. So will there be a future? I can see this also laying on top of a PRM from vendors to partners. I don't know if you ever thought about that or not. I'm just curious if that's something that's thought about.
I couldn't quite hear you, Sean, unfortunately.
Sorry, I was saying that I could see this maybe laying on top of a PRM also. So vendors that create portals and they have all their resellers, MSPs coming into it. They put a prescriptive playbook in there as well, because they want to figure out a way to tell you how to sell their stuff or how it fits in the story of the needs of the customer.
Right, I'm just checking you haven't bugged my office, because that was a conversation we had just yesterday. I'm wondering how you overheard that. You're absolutely right, but we're going to walk before we run.
I hear all. I have daughters. I spy on them. I'm really good at that. So I spy on all you guys now too, like my children. So yes. Okay,
so Sean's children, you've heard it here live now. You need to probably have a discussion about inside the family there. It's a great opportunity, and it's one we're thinking about. But the first thing we want to do is walk before we run, and we're here to help the MSP have a more successful relationship with their customer. We want to see the MSP add value to all of the customer's IT needs. We want to see the MSP be forward focused around what their customers are needing and be developing those skill sets now. If the MSP is a strategic partner to their customer, they will understand the strategy of their customer. It's kind of in the name.
Okay. So, and I know Adam's actually IT secure still.
I'm just so quiet.
I know you're so quiet. So the next thing now is talking about the actual business. What do you see the benefits that have taken place so far with existing people using this as far as like their growth? Have you seen do you have a success story?
Absolutely, yeah. So so yes, we do. So we've got a small number of MSPs using it already, and absolutely, it's doing all of the things we said. It's closing out sales cycles. In fact, we saw it originally as a consulting tool, and it was the MSP who partnered with us through Evolve. Actually, it was our Evolve peer group that said, "You guys need to share this with us. It's great. How do you share?" And that's our story, how we got involved in the program and commercializing our idea. So it's all IT Nation's fault. And they said, you know what, you're missing the point. This is a sales tool. And so the successes are absolutely from a sales point of view. But in our own MSP business, which I can obviously speak to at great length, we've got 9 people now focused on delivering just these services. And quite often the customer is only engaging with us for IT management and strategy services, where they might have their own internal IT staff or wouldn't otherwise have involved in MSP. We're starting to get into that customer base. And what's really interesting is we're getting engagement with much larger organizations than we used to deal with. And so we're starting to get some listed companies on the local stock exchange. We're starting to get some larger government departments as clients. And that's a surprise. It's a very welcome and pleasant surprise I didn't expect. And it's probably generating, I don't know, about maybe 15%, 20% of our services revenue is now coming from these services. So yeah, huge.
So how are you pricing this then? What's the price model?
So the price model for getKambium is $450 per MSP.
Okay.
And that gives
New Zealand or American?
You American, real money. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's an organizational level then. So the
And then
MSP
you
pays
get-
450 and unlimited users.
3 users, Sean. That's 3
Okay.
users. And then as you scale up, so you can have as many clients as you want. So you can have, 4 users. Well, the free version's free, first of all. You can have the free version. That's obviously got some limitations. The premium version, which you can customize, add your own content, add your own branding, that's $450 US per month. Gives you 3 users, and then you can buy additional users on top of that. And so we've got a few customers who are spending quite a lot more than that because they've got their whole enterprise, their whole MSP staff are using it, which is going really well.
Awesome. Okay,
Very
so
simple model.
I see that I'm looking at your website. I'm looking directly at your website as we're talking to you, by the way.
If you see any spelling mistakes, let me know afterwards.
No, I saw you were telling the truth about the pricing, so I'm looking at it right now. So I like that. That's good.
Very open, very, very cool.
I'm not sure how to
I like
answer
that.
that.
Is it so it's persona based, or I can set permissions also? So as the MSP owner, can I create based off each user that's in there? Say, okay, this is sales, this is support, and give, and then I can also assign the process, the content, the everything they should have.
So it's persona based in terms of the value you get from the product, but
Yep.
it's all the users get everything. As the administrator of the tenant, you can sit there and control security rights within that in terms of view only or edit or invite new users to it. And in some cases, the MSP might invite a third-party consultant. So they might say, "Who can be my VCIO? I'm too small as an MSP to employ a VCIO right now. So I'm going to reach out into my network and call up a mate of mine who I know through whatever else to be my part-time VCIO. They can invite them into their tenancy as well, if that's what it takes to get them going."
Okay.
Sweet. So, a couple questions from myself. So, what's the end goal here? What are you trying to achieve a little bit?
Well, I think we want to see MSPs be able to be more successful. Basically, we want to see MSPs deliver value to their customers that they can build upon. I think the goal right at the moment is to make sure a new MSP can get on board and do their first sales discovery within in under an hour. We want to make sure that the path for MSP to adopt our tools. We talked about onboarding before. Our goal is to make sure we can onboard a new MSP and have them doing their first discovery in under 60 minutes. So a pretty quick time to start getting value from it. And if they can go and do that discovery with a customer and turn that into wins in their business and opportunities closed in their pipeline, that's going to be a pretty quick speed to value for the MSP. So that's our immediate goal. And then to go back to the MSP and say, right, now you've done that, let's build upon that and make sure that you are getting across all of your customers with a strategic connection.
Interesting. Yeah. And, we are getting near the top of the hour, or 40 minutes, I should say, in which we try to keep it a little bit in that. Tell me a little fun fact about yourself.
Oh my gosh.
He said, "Oh my God." There's like a list of.
My family said, "Keep us out of it." So look, probably I don't know, it's not sure a fun fact, it's probably a sad fact, but the first time I wrote and sold software, I was 15. I was a schoolboy. I just discovered computers. This is back, showing my age. This is back in the 80s, in the early 80s.
Typewriters?
And I get this computer, and the software comes on a cassette tape. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Not running DOS, it's running CPM, if you can remember that far.
My first computer was a Tandy 1000, so.
Well, I remember those. The old Trash 80 was a great machine, one of my favorites. Yeah. And so I wrote some software, some games when I was a schoolboy, and a distributor picked those up and sold them through Asia for me, which was fantastic. Back in those days, the games were, of course, big and chunky and quite horrible to look at now, but it just reminds you how much our industry's changed and how much technology has shifted over the years. And you think about the devices that have been really cool for a period in time, whether it's iOmega, zip disks, whether it's a token ring, whatever it was, the technology is that was cool at the time. Some of those first smartwatches, Some of those first cell phones that opened up, look at the old Bond films, at the old smart cell phones that opened up. The latest technology keeps shifting. But what doesn't shift is our customers' need to be more productive and more efficient, and that's always delivered by technology. So if we want to have a long-lasting, sustainable MSP business, we have to understand how to apply technology, whatever it is, to help the customer achieve their goals, and how to keep on top of that so your customer stays competitive in their marketplace.
Awesome.
Dude,
I love that
right there.
I love your fun fact turn into like how you're helping the world again. I totally appreciate that.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, dude, you just wrapped our show.
My fun fact is I'm helping everybody.
I mean, that's a long time program. That's impressive.
Yeah. Again, just want to say I appreciate the program and how much we're enjoying it. So Sean and Louis and Andrea, thanks for the help you're giving us.
Absolutely. No, thank you for being part of it. Honestly, this is a great crop of vendors. It's actually we review every week. The team does internally after our meetings, and we talk about all you guys. And I don't know what's going to happen after 16 weeks. I don't know who's going to make it, man. It's very challenging. I'm glad I'm not judging.
Oh, I imagine that is a big challenge, big time. So, Sean, any closing thoughts?
No, I hope that people that are watching this check these guys out. Check out all the vendors. We would love to hear their feedback,
Yeah.
and thank you, Adam, for pulling this up, because that gives me a good thing to say real quick. It's a big deal for ConnectWise, because when we went into this, as we discussed before, the 3 promises that we made was the easier to do business with, and even more invested in partner growth, and more innovations faster. And everything that PitchIT embodies is exactly this. So I hope that these MSPs are taking notice. I hope they're looking at this. I hope they look into these companies and give us your feedback. The one thing is, we know we all are trying to learn and figure out the best way to approach these things. So if an MSP has questions, please let us know.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Andrew, really, thank you very much. Nice. I love hearing about new software. This looks like it really solves a lot of problems in the QBR assessment sales to really help MSP businesses grow their business, through capturing new revenue and different ways to do that. So I believe next week we are at 3 p.m.
We're back to regular time.
Back to regular time. So sorry, this week was a little off. So 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 Pacific time, and I'll be back in my office. Sean will have his audio all fixed, so he doesn't have to have a phone next to his ear.
I'm really enjoying this.
So, Andrew, thank you for your time. Enjoy your day. It's actually Friday for you, so enjoy your Friday morning. And thank you for your time. And it's just really wish you luck. And it's awesome. Thank you, guys.
Bye all.
Bye.